So right now, ALBabyKnight just making sure Revival is ready before he starts the game, since he does have host right now. Of course, you guys can follow us on Twitter. I have actually changed my Twitter account for anybody who didn't realize it by the little birdie down in the bottom corner. It used to be VP Nerski when I was doing stuff with Team VP. Now it's just Go for Nerski because I'm not on any team, and there you go. So you guys can follow me at Go for Nerski on Twitter, or you can follow Gwin, of course, at Gwincraft on Twitter. So make sure you guys do follow us if you enjoy our casting here today. But the countdown timer has begun, and I do believe it is my turn for introduction. So guys, here we go. Intros. Game number 3 about to start here as we move to Antigua Shipyard.
All right, Nerski, we're into this game. I'm excited, man. Of course, game 3. ALBabyKnight's got to make something happen. But let's go ahead and intro our players. In the red, playing for Team L, it is ALBabyKnight. And in the pink, playing that Zerg that we have seen dominate the past 2 games, it is Excuse Me, which is actually TSLRevival. And he's not 6-pooling once again. I'm just going to point that out.
The introduction stealer, taking 3 in a row.
Yeah, I know, man.
Bastard. I said it was my turn.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I was reading chat. I'm sorry. My bad.
It's okay. I'll get over it. Trust me.
You want to do them? Let's restart.
I'll get over
it.
No.
Okay.
I'll get over it. Trust me. I was just surprised. I was like, yeah, I got intros this time. Here we go. And then you're like, boom, I got this. So anyways, guys, game number 3 here between AL's ALBabyKnight and TSL's Revival.
Yeah.
And we have now what is going to be
what base play.
Nice early pull here by Revival. He is actually, I believe, going for a 10 pull.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that was an 11 pull with an extractor trick or a 10 pull, but I don't see any residue, so I'm pretty sure it's just a straight 10 pull.
This is a straight 10 pull. And ALBabyKnight is not walling.
This is a weird start to this game.
Really
we got a gateway
weird.
in the main over here at ALBabyKnight. Of course, he has actually not even scouted Revival yet.
Yeah, and he's not walling off, and it looks like he's scouting the wrong direction because this is the MLG version of the map, so it's cross only.
Yeah, he could just actually end up maybe, well,
he could actually
now on the
end
way.
up just losing to a big Zergling flood. I mean, there's 6 Zerglings on the way, and with a 10 pool build like this, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Revival continues pumping links. No, he's actually going back to droning. Interesting.
Yeah, this is definitely a weird spot that this game has gone into, but there is, of course, now going to be a handful of Zerglings on the way. I mean, normally for Revival, I don't really mind what he's doing here. Just sending out a few of his Zerglings, wants to try and deny any kind of a Forge first play, or I mean, not Forge first, but Nexus first play. That's really what these early pools are about, typically. You want to just econ out of it, but you get the faster queen, so you can actually econ out of it, potentially.
Yep.
And then, of course, you can deny a Protoss who tries to go for a Nexus first, but he's going to be able to just run right up this ramp, and the first Zealot's on the way, and he's going to throw a ton of Chrono Boost on it.
I think if he just targets down pylons, that's the best bet. I don't think going for the probes is the right maneuver here. He is going to pick off 3 of them so far, so a little bit of sloppy control out of ALBabyKnight, but now he's getting a great surround, and all of those lings are going to die. Another probe did fall, but I honestly think he could have taken out that pylon powering the cybernetics core really easily.
Yeah.
And that would have delayed Warp Gate quite a bit.
Yeah, he went for that fast gateway on the high ground, and I'm sure his intention here was to just 1 gate expand this game.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you still should just wall off the top of the ramp if you're going to go ahead and 1 gate expand anyways, because there's not really a whole lot of risks to doing that. And you just leave that Zealot spacing, and then you don't have to deal with early pools quite as much, especially on a map like Antigua. But it is forced cross spawn, so I'm wondering if ALBabyKnight actually realized that, because he actually scouted the wrong spot first.
Yeah. Yeah, he certainly did. I mean, and that's kind of one of those things. Like if you don't realize that it's forced cross, because I mean, if it's forced cross, then it's a lot easier for Revival to do an early pull because he knows exactly where to send the links.
Exactly, and then on top of that, it should have been easy enough for ALBabyKnight to scout it coming, but ALBabyKnight apparently didn't realize it was forced cross spawn. Went and scouted the, I guess what you would consider close air positions first.
Yep.
And then actually ended up not seeing it in time and took some damage as a result. Did lose a couple of probes, which really made those lings pretty much cost worthy, I guess, of what they were able to do. Because I mean, he only sent 5 lings in the base, got 5 workers, so he definitely got his money's worth for those Zerglings.
Yep, it was 4 workers in the base and then the scouting probe. So yeah, picking off 4 in the base, it's definitely good. There is a single zealot marching its way along. It will encounter 2 zerglings in the middle of the map. Zealots are not big fans of zerglings, so he does take a few pot shots. And ooh, this is going to be a 1-base DT play into an expansion out of ALBabyKnight. And I mean, if he catches Revival off guard with this, he could potentially do a lot of damage or even win the game. But I mean, if he doesn't, then it's going to look like Nessie versus Inca.
Yeah, it's going to really depend on what Revival's plan is for this game. Is he going to be doing some kind of a heavy 2-base pressure? Is he going for the just normal 3-base timings? Because, no, yeah, there's the 3rd going down. So he's actually just going to econ up again really heavily. So this could potentially actually do some damage. Unless Revival gets the scout off. And the only thing he has to scout right now, that Dark Shrine, is this Overlord way, way in the back of ALBabyKnight's base. His Overlord spread, actually not the greatest, not the worst, but could have at least one more additional Overlord a little bit closer to the base, and that 7-minute and 30-second mark where you normally would want to hit a timing isn't necessarily applicable when somebody's 1-basing quite as long as ALBabyKnight has been. So
right, but here's the thing, right? So I mean, Revival's a smart player. He's not a bad player, right? He's gonna see, hey, wait a minute, you actually only have 3 sentries out. And that's kind of a big tell, because that's 300 gas, and he did know that ALBabyKnight had gone 2 gas off his opening, so I mean, he should have...
Big run by over here in the natural, though, Gwin, so hold on for just a second. Forced to throw down his force fields on top of his sentries. Only actually manages to save 2 of them, but now it looks like the Zerglings might run up into the main, but no, just barely manages to block the Zerglings from being able to go through the main, but now they're going to be able to at least pick off these 2 sentries. Does he have another warp in prepared? No, he does not have another warp in ready, so he actually can't even warp anything in. These Zerglings are just going to get into the main, and he might just end up taking this series 3-0 in a hurry.
Hold on, though. There is a DT in the main of Revival. Another one headed to the natural. And, I mean, look at this. He throws down immediately 2 Evo Chambers and a Roach Warren. Can't afford to get those sniped. A Zergling actually did make it up into the main and did not quite see the Dark Shrine. And now a DT cleaning up the remainder of those Lings, eating up that probe line. And this kind of is a great equalizer. I mean, if we take a look, there's a huge couple rounds of Zerglings getting thrown out to run across the map to try and finish this off. But DT's one-shot Zerglings, so I think that DT defense is perfect out of ALBabyKnight.
He is moving the DT out of his main, though. Right now, the Harvester count is 16 for ALBabyKnight, just 6 for Revival. Revival's basically losing everything, so he absolutely is going to have to get something done with this next wave of Zergling. He's going to have to, bare minimum, take out all of the probes of ALBabyKnight so that he'd at least be on equal economic terms of 0, and hopefully we'll make sure he saves up enough that he can reestablish at least a drone to get himself back started again here, because of course these DTs will eventually clean up all of these Zerglings, but it looks like they will actually manage to get all the probes. And meanwhile, back over here at home, Revival actually has a Spore Crawler up at his 3rd. Now the DTs could potentially take that down, as there's now 0 Harvesters for ALBabyKnight. And DTs are going to have to immediately go here to try and do some damage to the 3rd, but Zerglings catching off guard. We see Revival retreat some of his Zerglings back, and that's going to be game.
I think so. I mean, how many probes are there out on the field?
0.
The answer is 0 for our Protoss player. His 8 supply is all tied up just in those DTs. Now, the DTs probably will be able to kill off these Lings before it kills the Nexus, but and actually there's 3 DTs here, so he still might have a go at this. 3 DTs does so much DPS.
He is going to give it a try. 2 Roaches are on the way, but they're not going to quite be out in time. He needs to kill all these Zerglings, though, not lose both of these DTs, then take out the Spore Crawler before they can defend. But nope, the defense is there, and now he's not going to be able to take this out. And even though he does have the money for 1 lowly probe, now 2.
He morphs an Archon.
Ooh.
Yeah, Archons actually do a lot of DPS.
Yeah, and they do a lot of damage to biological units like Roaches and Zerglings. So this could actually potentially do a lot of damage. This game has gone into such a weird place in a hurry. You see even drones being immediately pulled off the line to deal with this Archon. He's trying to micro it the best he can. About to lose the shields. Once you lose the shields on Archon, they're essentially useless. But that was very interesting. This game has just gotten to a really, really weird place now.
We've entered the the crazy place of games. ALBabyKnight is trying to reprobe his way back up. He can only really afford to make probes out of 1 Nexus right now.
He's actually sending this DT to the third, and that is a mistake, because he actually could just send DTs into the main and the natural, and there is no detection at the main and natural. And he could have bare minimum take out all of the tech of Revival to reset Revival's tech, which would give him a potential leg up in this game. Now, he's seen this, and he's not actually moving the DT out, though. He really should just move the DT in there, because it can clean up all of the tech of Revival. Instead, he keeps trying to push into this third with the DT, when really that should be the job of the Archon, while the DT should be going and killing all the tech in the main and natural. But he's actually leaving it up for really no reason, as some Zerglings, though, in the main trying to take out his last two probes. He does still have 90 minerals, though.
Yep, he does still have 90 minerals. That DT in the natural does fall. The GG out of ALBabyKnight. Wow. Revival played that. The crisis management there was so good out of Revival.
Yeah, it was indeed, and that means that Revival, he's already won 3-0 over ALBabyKnight. But you know what was really interesting about that game, Gwyn, is I actually think ALBabyKnight had an opportunity to win that game.
I thought he had the game won. I thought he had it in the bag, man.
Well, here's the thing, right? The way that game played out, ALBabyKnight had Revival down to that 1/3, but Revival had that third covered. But he could not cover his natural and his main. Had no layer tech anywhere in sight, so he wasn't going to be able to get out an Overseer. If ALBabyKnight had wanted to, he could have just gone into the main, cleaned up all the rest of the tech, maybe left one DT at home to stop any Zergling run-bys, while he used some DTs to clean up the tech. And he would have been in a pretty good position, actually, because we would have had Revival completely resetting his tech. ALBabyKnight would have still had his gateways and his tech down, where once he built up some economy, he could just continuously warp in DTs, and all Revival would be doing is one basing versus two base Protoss. So if he had seen where he was at in that game, I think a little bit better, he potentially still could have won that game. It wouldn't have been a guarantee. Revival could have rebuilt his spawning pool and his Roach Warren and all of his tech, but it would have at least delayed Revival enough that ALBabyKnight might have had a chance to win the game. But by pushing into that third repeatedly, he just gave the game to Revival, in my opinion.
Yep, I do agree with that. So, I mean, with that, that kind of ends it for all of that.